as it will be between Ramapo. And welcome back here and good evening. As the John J. Moore Athletic Center, as New Jersey City University takes on Ramapo here on MBasketball GothicVision. So I'm joined alongside Paul Tenniselli, my producer and director. I'm John Kelly Jr. So for NJCU, trying to make it back-to-back wins and knock off Ramapo. Ramapo comes in here after losing by 2 to TCNJ. 3 players in double figures. You're talking about a Ramapo squad that went to a Final Four last year after defeating MIT. One of the most successful seasons for head coach Chuck McGreen in his 21st season. And that is your head coach. As his Roadrunners trying to get a big-time victory. They stand at 4-3. NJCU is 5-2. So they're up top, 4-way tie with TCNJ, who defeated Ramapo. William Patterson and Montclair State. Those are the only 2 conference losses for NJCU. And as you look here in this starting 5, Kashawn Barnes comes in from Stockton. The NJAC leader at 21.1 points per game. Of course, add into the 3 returners of Rob Lewis and Rob McWilliams, the 2 top rebounders. And this is a recipe for disaster alongside freshman guard Jason Battle, who leads this team with 35 assists. So for NJCU, 10-4 overall, trying to make it back-to-back wins. These 2 teams split 2 games last year. NJCU won here 89-84, and they lead this series 67-26 off of a victory against Stockton, which they knocked down the season-high 12 threes, dominated throughout. And here is the leader in the NJAC in assists, Daquan Worthy with 60. He's part of this starting 5 for NJCU. And we will see Braylon Vereen from Kearney, New Jersey will be part of this starting 5. And in the big side, inside, that should be the most interesting matchup. As Jika Wusu got 5 points against Stockton. And Yuri Brutus part of this 5. Again, career best 16 against Steele. That 100-point performance. One of the best in a long time at 7 points. Brutus comes in leader with 10 blocks. As we'll get it into your screen, our starting lineups, but those are your starting lineups for Ramapo that are in the screen. As we mentioned before, Kashawn Barnes, Jason Battle, Rob Lewis, Rob McWilliams, and Matt Lacta, again, 3 of the 5 returning from last year, 12, 24, and 25. And then your starting lineup for NJCU, Daquan Worthy, Braylon Vereen, Yuri Brutus, Yuka Wusu, and of course, Sam Toney, NJAC Player of the Week. And Toney continuing 4 straight double-figure games, tops on this team at 11, led all scorers with 25 against Stockton, 4 straight 20-point games, and for him, the 6th in his last 7 games, averaging 15.6 against the NJAC this year. 4th in the conference in scoring, 5 double-figure games against the NJAC. It's him and Kashawn Barnes will be making his 51st career start. Of course, the Stockton transfer. Wouldn't want to be any place better than this one. Those 2 top scorers you get to watch. NJCU here, 94th meeting, leading the series 67-26. Worthy also comes in for NJCU off of a career-high 12 assists. Number 2 in the NJACs in assists per game. As NJCU in their all-white green numbers and letters with a gold trim around it. Trying to go to 5-3 in the conference, go to 11-4. And the tip won by the Gothic Knights here is Worthy. Leader on the team at 60 assists, that's tops in the conference. Looking to Sam Toney or Chika Wusu as Brutus out to Worthy. Now Brutus, cross court to Toney. Driving on McWilliams, pulls up, cannot connect. Wusu trying to get the board, and it was knocked out of play. And we'll go over here to Ramapo. So it's quick here, is quick substitution, just 30-plus seconds in, as Vereen checks out. Wusu, Worthy, LeVron Green comes off a 7-point performance. Tony Usu Brutus in the 5 for NJCU. It's Barnes, McWilliams, Rob Lewis, and Jason Battle in the 5 alongside Latka. For Ramapo, how about that from Rob Lewis, following it with a capital F. As a team leader gets his 152nd rebound in that category and 2 points to open this one. How about it? Here's Sam Tony, fade away. Good on the response from Sam. Tony became the 29th player in school history to record 1,000 points. As here's Battle, leader with 35 assists. To McWilliams, out to Barnes for 3. Off the back iron, nice board corralled by Tony. Outlets to Saquon Worthy. The Trenton product going down low to Brutus. Double teamed, kicks out for Tony. Deep 3, air ball. And a wasted shot as we're tied here at 2. With 18:33 to go. Tony was the 2017-2018 EdJack Player of the Year. 5th player named EdJack Player of the Year. The first since 2003-2004 here at New Jersey City University. As that was a quick push off, no call. Battle misses the J anyway. We're tied at 2. NJCU trying to break through for the first time. Green trying to go down low to Brutus. Kick ball. It will stay with NJCU. LeVron is second with 13 threes made, 8.6 points per game. He's knocked down 10 of his 13 against the NJAC. JCU will take the lead. Win back-to-back here in the conference, go to 6-2. There's Green for 3. Off the right rim and a rebound by McWilliams. Barnes all the way down the floor. A good pressure by Tony to stop it. And then Latka lays it home. So Ramapo with 4 of the first 6 points. Solomon Pierre going to check in at the next whistle for NJCU. Brutus. Down low for Wusu. Backing down, hook shot. Off the mark, Brutus with the board. Can't finish. And now Jason Battle accelerates up to Latka. Knocked there by Green. Who did touch last? They'll say it touched NJCU. So Solomon Pierre will check in. 17:41 to go. As Barnes inbounds the Latka. Barnes, of course, the leading scorer in the conference at 21.1 points per game. And Lewis on the fadeaway. That one partially dipped, Tony grabbing it. And Sam now pushing out to Worthy across the timeline to Green for 3. There's number 14 on the air, made for him. His 11th against the conference, second on the team in that category. It was 17 to go. NJCU finally getting their first lead of this one. Now it's Kajan Barnes, 0-on-0, watched by Green, gets by 1. Barnes pulls up, off the back iron, tapped by McWilliams, the Latka. He's got 4, and Ramapo retakes the lead. Now Worthy sets up. 293 career assists coming into this one. Hands for Green, pulls up from deep. That one off the back iron. Pierre can't get the board. Green gets it tipped to him. Press 30-second shot clock and threw it away. Up to Battle. Finger roll is good. Ramapo by 3. And head coach Mark Brown wants to dog things over. As the Roadrunners leading here with 16:29 to go. Thank you for tuning in this evening. Paul Paniselli, your producer and director. I'm John Kelly Jr. More and more, we're getting good working with one another. 94th meeting between both of these squads. As Ramapo out to a good start here, up by 3. So if you are NJCU, you want to keep your offense going. It goes through Sam Tony, your leading scorer coming in here at 17.1 points per game, but then you need the secondary scoring. As NJCU has won 4 of their last 5. And of course, there's a reason why Mark Brown took a timeout. His team tops in the NJAC in turnover margin, 14.6. So they take care of the basketball extremely well. And clearly not very happy with what he saw. And now his team comes out of the timeout. They're led by just 1 NJCU. Tony pulls up. That one's short, and a rebound again by Lewis. Lewis with 111, second on the team coming in. Battle. Out to McWilliams. Trucked over Worthy, charging violation called. And it will go back to NJCU, and now we'll get to see Denzel Banks, the sophomore from Newark. 18 points against Stockton, and he did it coming all off the bench. So Worthy setting things up. Now to Denzel Banks to Worthy. Worthy. Lane, the drive comes our way from it. Denzel Banks off of 18 points last game. Can't connect on his first two in this one as Barnes with the board. Outlets the battle. Reverse. Cannot go. Rebound Solomon Pierre. As Ira Thor now joins me on the broadcast.
That last rebound by Pierre, interesting enough, he is a transfer from Ramapo, who his brother Sam decided not to play this year, but Sal getting a ton of playing time, and he's producing defensively as a senior.
Worthy for three, can't get it for the tie, and a rebound by Lack. That seems always the story too, as Kashawn Barnes comes in here from Stockton, another transfer, leading this team in scoring, and he shows why, as now they lead by 5. Ira, that's amazing, because you went to a Final Four last year. That's just an unbelievable gift to get one of the leading scorers in the conference to transfer here.
Well, it's interesting because we had a similar story in the women's game, because you have the Bacon sisters coming over from Kane after 3 years. Well, Barnes after 3 years at Stockton coming over, and as Yuri uses every bit of the window, you know, Ramapo finds a way to rebuild. That's what they do. They have huge rosters. Are they going to be in the race this year? Time will tell. You know, on paper, NJCU and Montclair are the two best teams, but Ramapo's hanging around.
You mentioned Montclair State, one of the 2 conference losses for NJCU. It'd be more or less, you'd say they ran into a red-hot shooting performance from William Patterson. That's the other conference loss. Ramapo sitting at 4-3 in the conference. Both teams, 10 overall wins. And so there's Rowan right below Ramapo, who furiously rallied back to make it a battle. So Ira Thor, John Kelly Jr., Paul Tanaselli with us, the second of 2 here, the NJAC doubleheader. NJCU, as you had a chance there to look, Denzel Banks, 18 points off the bench last game. I mean, wow, what a contributor, and Coach Brown's got to love that.
He's someone that when we were putting together the preseason materials, you know, Coach Brown said he's not going to start a lot of games, at least not this year, but he is going to finish games. And at the end of the day, I think that's what matters most. You know, we had a mistake in the book, so you had to have Graylin Vereen start in place of LeVron Green. It was just a miscommunication. Green, doesn't really matter who's out there. Yeah, it's nice to have your name read when the music's on and before the opening tip, but it's who's out there in the big minutes, the minutes that matter. And Banks, you know, as long as he stays out of foul trouble, which has been one of his Achilles' heels so far, John, is somebody who's going to play a ton of minutes going forward. Only a sophomore.
Yeah, exactly. You also look here, transfer, keep it rolling. Jeff Haddock Jr., another transfer who came over, another NJAC opponent. They seem to all know each other, and you wonder why, Ira, at the end of the year. Latka gets a 3-point play. He's been on fire so far. He's close to 8 points now.
Yeah, and it was just Brutus there not moving his feet led to that. That was kind of what you would describe as a lazy foul, and that's how you get yanked out of a game.
Yeah, Matthew had 19 against TCNJ. Tough 85-83 loss. 3 Ramapo players in double figures. As you mentioned in the press guide, it starts with Barnes in scoring, but McWilliams and Rob Lewis not too shabby either, and also dangerous rebounders.
And you mentioned Haddock, and just keep in mind that he started the year as a starter, would probably still be a starter because he was producing. He was their second leading scorer, but he's been sidelined by a nagging hamstring injury. He is expected back finally on Saturday.
NJCU got to get some scoring going. Here's Worthy. Looks to Wusu. Can't lay it home, but a nice follow by James Julius. And that's big, as NJCU had gone into a little bit of a scoring shell.
Julius, someone who has been a starter in the past and had not played a ton of minutes.
Barnes lays that home.
Had not played a ton of minutes thus far, at least in the first half of the year, primarily because if you looked at his field goal percentage through the first 6-7 games, he was shooting like 2 of 14 or something to start the year.
Banks off the mark, gets it back, goes up, draws contact, and 2 free throws coming his way. as I'm joined alongside Ira Thor here on NJCU Gothic Vision. So the women fell 71-55. And again, kind of a surprise to most of us. We knew coming into that matchup that Ramapo was one of those grinder teams, one of the top 2 in points allowed in the conference, and rebounding just got to him today.
Well, you could paint the 2 things in that game. Number 1, just a dismal start to the first quarter, combined with Ramapo shooting 80% in that first period. So, I mean, it's hard to bounce back when you're down 20-6. And then the size differential without Jasmine Reese, who's the Rookie of the Week earlier in the year and then has been out the entire year with a knee injury. Most likely need to have a medical hardship this year. She'll get her freshman year back, but not having her out there with the Bacons, you know, that takes away a potential difficult matchup. And, you know, this team with Reese out there with the Bacons on the women's side would potentially be a playoff team, but now they don't have the size inside to compete. Saw that today.
Rob Lewis goes up, hook shot off the mark, and Ramapo back to the free throw line. Rob Lewis off a double-double last game, 13 rebounds and 18 point shots, 70% from the free throw line, and we'll have 2 here, Ira.
Rob Lewis is having a magnificent year. He's going to be in line probably for Conference Defensive Player of the Year honors. He's leading the league in rebounding.
Yeah, came in with 151 of this one, as you mentioned.
You know, another potential Defensive Player of the Year on the court is Shaquan Worthy for the Knights. You know, second in the league in both assists and steals, but he is just absolutely changing the game with his defensive ability on the other guards. And, you know, I saw this team in Vegas. We'll talk more about it, you know, as this broadcast goes on, but I made a lot of mental notes from what I saw. As some folks know, I was one of the 3 announcers for the D3 Hoops Classic, and Rama basically has a condo out there that are there every single year.
And you play a little poker. I was trying to keep that one cleaned up. You and Dave McHugh getting in there as Wusu laying that one up, getting NJCU within 3. As Ramapo out to a great first half start. Again, it was the second half where they really put on the gas in that 85-83 loss at TCAJ, but they were down by 10. First half start so important for them, and they've gotten off to a good start here on the road. It's just, when will NJCU strike? That one too long, so a fresh 30-second shot clock. Another 3. They get the friendly roll for Tony, and Worthy another board, so 2 offensive boards.
Smallest player on the court, but he always finds a way.
And Wusu draws the 3rd Ramapo foul.
And if you look at Wusu's right knee, he's got a brace on there. Gothic Knights got a scare out in Ohio when he went out late in the game against Worcester. And, or actually went late in the game in Steele, I should say, did not play against Worcester. And Worcester, with their 6'7" center, took advantage in the final few minutes of that game. Without him in the lineup, did not have a big that could contend, and that's why Worcester was able to come back and win that game.
Yeah, win by 6. Worcester, of course, was number 14 in the country at the time.
Now, what should be said, that we feared that he might be out for an extended period of time, but turns out the injury was not that bad, and with enough rest between New Year's and the next game, which was this past Saturday against Stockton, he was able to come back right away. Only missed 1 game.
Now Latka. Across for McWilliams for 3. That one is short. Nice board. And now it's outletted. Elevation. And Tony lost control. He thought he was fouled there, Ira.
He was going for the Showtime dunk, and he lost the ball on the way up. And then a frustration foul on the other end.
Yeah, so that foul now the 5th for NJCU. Just shooting 25%. 46.7% here by Ramapo being shot in this first half. Ira Thor, John Kelly Jr., Paul Tanaselli, the producer and director. And it's the key categories where Ramapo comes in firing on all cylinders. 3rd in the conference, shooting at 40.3%. Again, 4th in scoring. I mean, again, NJCU 2nd in scoring, 81 points per game. So we are really seeing the creme of the creme de la creme in this one, Ira, in all phases of the basketball game. Drive here by the Roadrunners. 7 to shoot. And that lay-in is short from Connor Romano. The Old Bridge product could not come down with that. Tony to Richardson. Crosses up, back out to Sam Tony. His shots, Ira, where do you want him to come from?
Well, in this situation, I mean, Sam's got a green light to pretty much shoot from everywhere as long as it's not a forced shot. And even when he forces shots, he has a knack to hit them anyway. So
8 to shoot. Pierre across the Richardson. Out. 3. Air ball. And it's picked up by Rob Lewis. They'll say shot clock violation. So Ramapo will take over with 10:28 to go. And what are the struggles here with NJCU just shooting 5 of 20 from the field, Ira?
And that's the Knights with a slow start, but they've been known to have some slow starts and strong finishes. And barely through the halfway point here. It's interesting having Juan Thomas Cancels get so much playing time just a week into his Gothic Knight career. Only a freshman. He could be the heir apparent to Shaquan Worthy, either him or Braylon Vereen when Worthy graduates.
And a foul there on Pierre. So Solomon played at Bloomfield Tech. You know, also you look at Irvington, Thomas Cancel. Irvington's got very good high school basketball. And you look around that area, Ira, a lot of the CYO leagues, AAU teams around this area. I grew up in Essex County. Get good athletes out of Irvington, and he's darn good one. And, you know, down in Teaneck, down in Trenton, as you have, where Worthy's from, there's something in the water in those places when it comes to guard play.
Coach Brown knows good guards when he sees them. Obviously, one of the great mid-major guards of all time. Over 2,000 points, over 750 assists during his playing year. That is a big-time walk. And, you know, this coaching staff has done a great job of navigating throughout the state and finding talent where it lies. And the nice thing is, at this point, you know, Mark's been here for 12 years. Chuck McGreen's been around for 21 years. It gets to a point where you have some long-term relationships, and you don't have to hunt as much as you do when you're a younger coach because you have those existing relationships and coaches trust you and they call you.
Tony draws contact and lays it home in the foul, and a three-point play, and we could be even. As Ramapo has played a great first half, led by as much as 6, 15-9. NJCU led by 1, 5-4 at the 16:59 mark, and now we're tied again.
I sense a replay.
And Sam Toney, just such an interesting play. You know, Ira, I got to be honest with you. I think he might need his own trophy case when he finishes playing basketball here at NJCU.
Sam had a slow start this year. I think there's a lot of pressure on him, obviously being a first-team preseason All-American, the big-time target on your back. But he's really come to play in the last month or so and went from averaging only about 14.4 points a game. Now he's going to be creeping up to 20 based on the outcome of today.
Yeah, team leader at 17.1 points per game. First player in NJCU history to get Rookie of the Year and Player of the Year in back-to-back seasons.
Looks like Barnes traveled there. Gothic Knights will be happy with the result anyway as they threw the ball away. And as good as Barnes is, I mean, you look at his scoring average. He's not Player of the Year material in the league, in my opinion. He's going to put up some impressive scoring numbers, but he doesn't do all the other intangibles that you have to be a Player of the Year. Is he a first-team All-Conference player? Without a doubt. No question in my mind. But when you look at Players of the Year, there's a reason that Sam Toney is probably going to repeat in that area barring something happening. I mean, you could maybe make a case for, you know, probably Mitchell White from Montclair, a couple others are in the mix, but having Toney out there changes the focus of a team. You can let Barnes beat you and then stop others, but Sam Toney has the ability to beat you in 4 different ways.
So out of that 30-second timeout, well, after the 6-point deficit, a 7-1 NJCU run, and of course Sam Toney, that 3-point play helping him tie. Ira Thor, my color analyst, and Paul Tanaselli, our producer and director, as NJCU trying to go to 6-2 in conference play. 4-way tie for that top spot. Montclair State and William Patterson, their only 2 losses in that category with them. TCNJ at 5-2 after beating Ramapo in their previous game.
Looks like they spilled some water on the sideline. You know, the fumbles aren't just on Sundays in this part of the world.
And of course, Ramapo, as we know, listen, they're a contender as well. Last year, the NJAC champions, 5th NJAC championship, 25-7 last year, a Final Four appearance. So they primed them up as well. NJAC, very deep, Ira. You got to bring your A game in all phases. As Toney makes that 5 now on those last 2 exchanges. And the lead, the 2 for NJCU, largest since they led by 5-4 earlier on in this first half. 8:40 to go. NJCU trying to win back-to-back games. Here's Mick Williams. The Romano. The Jason Battle. Plays high school basketball at Roselle Catholic, one of the top programs in that south area of non-public. And that one by Romano, a clear charge. And NJCU has tightened up nicely here defensively, Ira.
And the big thing for the Gothic Knights is kind of adjusting to see what Ramapo is going to throw at them. You really don't know with this Ramapo squad, outside of Lewis and, of course, Barnes, kind of what the difference is going to be each game. I saw this team in Vegas, as you know, as I was mentioning earlier, announced for the second year in a row, the D3 Hoops Classic. And, you know, I thought the one big weakness in this Roadrunner squad was their guard play. And it's funny, Coach McBreen and I have a pretty good relationship. We've known each other for a long time. And, you know, after seeing their first game of the tournament, and Tony Powers inside, nothing out of that.
Now battle here, 2-on-1. Nice feed to McWilliams, but he wasn't ready for it. Then knocked down, kind of a tough foul by NJCU. So 6 fouls apiece. And you know, Jason Battle, a young freshman for, you know, Ramapo. Again, you had mentioned you thought guard play maybe was the area
I
that they weren't
thought guard
as
play was their big, and you know, the coaches asked me what I thought, and I said, listen, I thought your guard play was going to be your biggest Achilles heel this year. I thought they needed to get more out of Jordan Zagadou, who, quite frankly, I think is underproduced for his size and athleticism. And they don't have anybody with that killer experience now that they've lost so many players from last year. You know, Barnes still had to learn to play with a bunch of these guys. You know, it was a matter of could Rob Lewis carry this team when other guys were not producing.
Ramapo now 3 for 4 from the line. And McWilliams, perfect. His team 4 for 5. 80% from the free throw line. Second in the conference at 71.7 at the free throw line. We are tied at 18. NJCU is over the foul limit. 7 fouls for them. We're tied again for the second straight time. Now backing on up is James Julius. 1-on-1 with McWilliams. Julius, nice. Floater, too strong, gets it back. Tries to draw contact on the second try. Pushed down and the foul. What an effort from NJCU.
Wow. What a play by Thomas Cancel. What an addition. One-time Rookie of the Week in his first week as a college player. Didn't get anything out of him against Stockton on Saturday, but he is someone, as we mentioned before, could be the heir apparent, and they want to see in this second half of this first of season for him, how can he develop? Is he ready for that role?
Tony got the offensive board, trying to finish, cannot, but he'll get 2 free throws. And he got very valuable experience playing in Vegas, too. Ira really stepped up and played very well for this squad.
Now, this Ramapo team, again, that tournament has been 9 years in a row. It is the premier tournament in Division III. Ramapo has been there the most. They've been there 8 of the 9 years. And I was joking with Coach McBreen that, you know, guys might as well just buy a timeshare out there and, you know, maybe cut down on some of the travel costs every year and just worry about the flights. But that's one of those tournaments where you get some great competition and it gets you set up for the second half of the year. And you saw with Ramapo, it made a huge difference because they were not playing well when they got out there. And got beat pretty badly against Central. Actually, last year, Ohio Wesleyan hit 25 three-pointers against them in the first game. And then they lost to Central after being up big. And I saw Ramapo kind of take a turn that I did not expect for them. Well, you know what? That ended up being the best thing that could have happened to Ramapo because they went on a great run at the end of the year, won another conference title, and then went on another run to the Final Four.
Locker gets the feed from Battle. Nice job by Brutus to strip him.
Yeah, Brutus very patiently not to commit a foul there.
James Julius. Brutus down low. Wusu can't lay it home. Gets it back. Second try. Successful. NJCU by 6. Largest they have led by.
And that is the value that Wusu brings to this squad. You know, he doesn't have the defensive ability of his brother Chiwe, who was the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the league, but he's got toughness that you just can't buy.
Battle gets it. And he was kind of indecisive there, Ira.
Yeah, he went up. He kind of got caught And at that point, you just got to shoot.
How about that from Richardson? A little Michael Jordan there. I don't know. Hey, but it works. NJCU lead sticks at 6, largest it has been.
I think you also wanted a foul call there. You motioned to the referee. What happened?
Battle. Can't get 5 on back-to-back exchanges. Made it 2 before. Now Richardson into the front court. 3 ball. Good from James Julius. And head coach Dick Green wants to talk it over. NJCU by 9. Largest they have led by. 6:01 to go here in the first half. And Ira, what have they done to take hold of this game?
Ball movement has absolutely been better. A little inside-out play. And quite frankly, let's face it, they just had to get hot. This team, this offense, nobody in the NJAC can match up to NJCU when they're clicking. And it's not just about Sam Toney. Yeah, Sam Toney's that one guy you got to focus on. If you don't focus on, you're going to get beat. But there's so many guys in this lineup that can hit big shots. You saw right there, James Julius knocking it down, standing right in front of head coach Chuck McGreen. And you know, he very easily could have gotten fouled there for a 4-point play. This team is dangerous, and they are tough to defend, and that is why, you know, when all said and done in February, won't be surprised if this team is involved in the championship conversation.
Well, they'd like to be back in the championship conversation. And Ira will join us in a little bit. I just step aside for a minute. So 6:01 to go. 13-5 run NJCU has been on as they trailed 15-9. Then, of course, a 7-1 run to tie it up at 16, and since then they've just handled. Here's Kashawn Barnes. McWilliams out to Rob Lewis, backing down. Lefty float off the mark, and he follows his shot. Can't write it up any better. That's what you're supposed to do, and Vereen sets up for NJCU. And an offensive foul, so a chance for Ramapo to cut down this 9-point deficit. A team that went to the Final Four trying to go to 5-3 in the NJAC and a 2-game losing skid. 11 points off of turnovers in that loss to TCNJ. And now it's Kashawn Barnes. Conference leader at 21.1 points per game. Righty float off the mark, didn't get any rim. A nice rebound by Brutus. And Banks pushed that too quickly, so it'll go right back over to Ramapo. Both teams playing clean so far. Ramapo 5 turnovers, 4 for NJCU. Battle kicks it out. Barnes for 3, short. And a nice board by Brutus, and he gets fouled by Rob Lewis. So that will be Ramapo's 8th foul. And Ira had mentioned Jordan Zagadou, who was 7th in this NJAC with 11 blocks, tied with Andre Morgan. And the Newark, New Jersey product, who's tied 2nd with 11 blocks, going to come in as Richardson will come off. Quan Worthy will come in after Brutus's free throw. Toney as well. And he misses, and then it bounces around right back to Brutus, and good. He couldn't draw that one up any better. As Yuri Brutus. Has it now to a 9-point game, largest NJCU has led by. Battle through contact, so he'll go to the free throw line. Jason from Roselle Catholic played in the Tournament of Champions and a state title. Good freshman addition right here in Jersey City. Leader in assists and steals on this team at 35 and 29. And both teams in the bonus. Sam Toney in, Wusu, and Vereen will come off. So Toney, Green, Banks, Brutus, Worthy in the 5 for NJCU. Battle, Lotka, Zagadou, Barnes, McWilliams in the 5 for Ramapo. Ramapo trying to end a 2-game skid. NJCU trying to win back-to-back conference games as Battle knocks down. 4:50 to go. As Worthy quick up there for Banks. Leader in assists to Toney. 4th in scoring coming in at 17.1 to Worthy for 3. That one rims out. Big board by Latka. Hands off the Battle. Pumps it ahead for Barnes. Kashawn tightrope in the baseline underneath the Zagadou, and he traveled. So it will go over to NJCU, and now a little extras and some technical fouls coming. So we'll sort through that with 4:30 to go. It's getting a little intense here at Jersey City University, so we'll sort those things out. 4:30 to go. Brutus made the shot. Oh, Worthy. The old stack room. Sorry if you heard talking in the background. Just trying to make Saquon Worthy missed that last shot. Trying to update our stat crew. John Kelly Jr. Your play-by-play man. Paul Tanaselli, my producer and director. As the Gothic Knights trying to win 11 games. Knock off Ramapo here in this 94th meeting between both of these squads. Six points for Battle. He leads all scores. Rob Lewis and Latko with 5 apiece. 4 for Barnes and McWilliams. Tony with 9. 5 for Julius. 4 from Brutus and Wuso. Now Worthy crosses midcourt. Eyed up by Battle. Team's leaders in assists. And he has an open 3. Cannot connect on it. Board by Barnes. Kajan puts on the accelerator. Balloons to Latka. Into the paint, then threw it away to Worthy. Worthy so dangerous on the defensive side. Now outlets. Julius for 3. That one rims out. Rebound by Barnes. Up and down we go. Kajan Barnes. They stop it. Tries to drive through. And a jump ball whistled. And Kajan Barnes upset it. Now he gets teed up. But now Ramapo going to give 2 free throws to NJCU, and Barnes with the tech. NJCU shooting 32.4%. Ramapo 40.9%. Ramapo 85% from the charity stripe with a 71.4%. And now Ira Thor has some water. He's relaxed. And Ira,
I was actually doing a little research, to be honest with you. We have
okay.
News 12 New Jersey here doing a story on Sam Toney. So I was trying to figure out where Sam's father was sitting in the bleachers, so it took a little work.
You do it all here, don't you? And of course,
So I get a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Exactly. Well, you deserve it. As Tony makes the first of 2 technical foul to Barnes. And he knocks that. You know, Ira, as we get it here, then we'll get back into action. I'm impressed when I look at your Facebook feed. You're at Giant Stadium. You know how to do it in stats. You're in Vegas. I mean, how'd you sleep?
What's sleep?
I know, exactly.
Didn't Bon Jovi write a song about that?
I think he did write a song about that. I know he did.
Sleep when I'm dead.
I know.
We're between 3 and 6 a.m. Or on planes.
Good. That's where you get your sleep. You're not flying. Worthy flying down the floor. Can he lay it in? Yes, sir. And NJCU now by 11. Large as they have led by, and Ira, they have really turned the tide. Worthy is so good on defense, like you mentioned. You know, his ability to play up on the wings, then he can really make a problem for you down in the blocks when you try to go inside. No,
absolutely. I mean, Gothic Knights right now have an opportunity to kind of put some distance between themselves and Ramapo here. You know, got 3:50 left in the first half, still a lot of time to go. The one area of concern that I've had for this team all year is their ability to close opponents out when they had big leads. You know, they took a 40-point lead on Albertus Magnus a month ago here, which was a team that's in the NCAA tournament virtually every year. And that was one of the few games where they took a big lead and absolutely just, you know, stuck their foot on an opponent's neck, for lack of a better term. That is the killer instinct is something that if this team is going to make that postseason run and they have all the ability in the world to do so, that's the one area where they're too nice at times. You know, and I mean that in the best possible way, because I like every single one of these players. You don't have that every year where there's every single player on a team that you like. There's always somebody who's, drives me nuts. Every one of these kids is a great kid. And you know what? That's a great attribute to have, but on the court, they got to have that killer instinct a little bit. You know, you got to have that bulldog a little bit, and I think if there's one Achilles heel right now with the program, that and a little bit of a lack of size down low if they're going up against somebody 6'7" or bigger.
You talk about Albertus Magnus. What about the Rowan game? I mean, they were in complete control of that one. Never should have been that tight of a win, 76-68.
See, I missed that one. I was in Greensboro, North Carolina, announcing a national championship for soccer, and I was watching you, sir, do a tremendous job on the broadcast.
Thank you. And Latka puts that over a pair of hands. Wow. Now Tony into the front court. And a drive on Romano. Getting physical with him, backing down, lost control, and then gets it back from Romano. Did he get a timeout? No, referee gonna give a jump ball. This will go over to Ramapo, and head coach Mark Brown unhappy with that last exchange.
I'll say hello to Dave Armstrong watching this game in somewhere near Fort Myers, Florida, former NJCU baseball player, now retired at the ripe old age of 50.
Well, I'd love to be in Florida, too. I mean,
I'd give a shout out at 50.
Yeah, shout out to Dave Armstrong. My papers stayed in place, unlike yours flying all over the place at that Greensboro NCAA Division III.
That was only game one. Game one, they against Chicago and Calvin, they stuck us outside on a 40-degree day, and I kind of had to strong-arm my way into the press box.
I love what Connor Romano did right there. Just staying with Sam Toney, physically giving it to him, and then he draws the offensive foul, second to Toney. Romano, too, gets it done defensively, third with 21 steals. And steps up in a big way for Ramapo. As Andre Morgan, freshman from Wilmington, Delaware, is in. Latka, battle. Romano and McWilliams in the 5 for Ramapo. As McWilliams fouled going up. And both teams with 10 fouls apiece. And rather physical in this one, Ira. We expect that. And 2 big free throws for Ramapo.
Two teams that, they know each other very well. Even the reserves, which a lot of this Ramapo squad that's on the floor now, with the exception of Barnes, who was at Stockton, of course, was backups last year, substitutes, and they've had to kind of step in and become those guys this year. But this rivalry is real. This is probably the best rivalry in the NJAC right now.
Also helps your conference when all these players know each other.
I think you could say that in terms of knowing each other about most players in the NJAC, because this is one of the few leagues in the country where over 90% of your players are from the Garden State, and it's not that big of a state. So these guys have been playing against each other since the AAU days, since they're 10, 11, 12 years old, and then in high school.
Banks, yes! At NJCU by 10. Denzel continuing it. And I like what Banks can do from a jump shooting possibility, but also he's a slasher guard. And you're right, Ira, just about consistency for him, and he could find himself consistently around as now Wosu will go to the line.
That was an off-the-ball foul,
yes,
so he will have
call, yeah.
2 shots as well. But you saw Ramapo pick up 2 tees early on, and Coach McGreen is going to have to find a way to channel that frustration that they have, and that's, you're up big and then you fall down by double figures. There's always a sense of frustration that happens.
Wosu only goes 1 for 2 at the line. Of course, Coach McGreen getting honored into a Hall of Fame. He's definitely made a name for himself at Ramapo. And this squad trying to repeat what they did last year, a Final Four. And with 2:18 to go, I like what we're seeing here from freshman guard Jason Battle. I mean, Ira, he looks a lot older than he's on that chart there. You look at him as a freshman playing more like a junior.
Yeah, he's somebody that, talking to Coach Brown, that he was high on. He thinks Battle has a chance to be a special player.
And a big response 3 by Julius. Battle, of course, played at Roselle Catholic. Of course, before St. Anthony's shut, they used to play them in that South non-public. And he's had a great freshman year, coming in leading in assists and steals and scoring and helping out Ramapo in that area as McWilliams off the mark. And rebound by NJCU. Now they'll push.
This is where they're dangerous, in transition.
Julius, how about a second 3? That one short. Romano, I check that Battle with the board. Outlets the Latka. He has the elbow. As Jay is too strong, Wusu the board. Now both teams picking up the tempo. Banks Drop step, floater, short, follow right there. Oh, man, that's athleticism.
And listen, if you're going to miss your own shot, you don't watch it. He doesn't. He follows it. He gets the tip, the good tip off the glass, and the Gothic Knights still get the points in transition. This team averages more than 6 turnovers, plus 6 turnovers a game is the turnover margin. That's something where if you think they're good offensively, they're probably the best team in the conference at creating chances off other teams' mistakes, and they do it consistently.
NJCU leads in turnover margin coming in the conference at 14.6 as we're under a minute to go. 40 seconds. NJCU, they're trailing by much as 6, really settled down late here in this first half. And up by 14, they could go more. 7 to shoot. The read to Julius, 4 to shoot. Fadeaway 3. Oh my! Shades of Isaiah Ryder.
Wow. James Julius, he's a streaky player. He's found his niche here in the half. That's his 3rd triple.
Oh, man.
And every time he falls to the hardwood.
7 seconds to go. Largest lead for NJCU. Battle driving with 3 to go. Fall away float off the glass. And a whistle at the horn.
Clothesline. That should be something right there because Julius
easily
got absolutely WWE'd.
And head coach Brown upset he didn't get anything, but you should be happy because at half here it's 46-29 in favor of NJCU. And Ira, how are they able to settle down and really take control of this?
Well, first of all, I think Coach Brown right here, I mean, he doesn't, again, you're not looking for foul shots in that situation. You're trying to protect your players. And that's how you can have a serious head injury there that who knows how that can impact the rest of the year. That is a big miss right there. And they have to be cautious of those kind of plays. This is going to be a physical game. For the Gothic Knights, they found themselves down early, but they were heating up, and the big reason is the ability to move the ball in transition, get players involved. Again, as I said earlier, it's not just going to be Sam Toney. It's not just Sam Toney, and in this case, they did a very good job of getting others involved. James Julius, the one who stood out.
Well, we'll step off here at halftime, and it is NJCU 46, Ramapo 29. My producer and director, Paul Tanaselli, will put the halftime stats in your screen, and we'll be back with the final 20 minutes. As we're at halftime, NJCU in front 46-29 over Ramapo and NJAC play.
So about to have the final 20 of this one here. John Kelly Jr. and Ira Thor will be joining me. Paul Tanaselli is your producer and director. So as Mr. Thor hooks on up here, well, Ira, Ramapo shot 39.3. NJCU shoots 38.6. I think one of the big areas that you look at, both teams take good care of the ball. They're just 7 turnovers for Ramapo, 5 for NJCU. But how about the Gothic Knights bench? 24 points.
That's a difference.
And that really brought a spark when this team was down 15-9.
Yeah, that's absolutely the difference right now. 24 points off the bench, sparked by Joyous, who has 11. You know, Ramapo that has 21 players, I think I counted on the roster. Some of them don't produce. It's going to be a long night for Ramapo.
Yeah, it's amazing because Rob Lewis, a big note, 3 fouls. The top rebounder on this team with 151 coming in at 10.8 rebounds per game. You know, Ira, by the way, 2 double-doubles in his last 3. It's a good guy to get off as he starts with McWilliams, Battle, who led all scores, Barnes, the team's leading scorer, and Latka.
Yeah.
Now Lewis.
If Lewis isn't on the floor, this RCNJ team doesn't have a chance.
He has 3 fouls, has to be careful. And Worthy fouls him, first one. We had 10-plus fouls for both teams in that first half. What do you really think was what really corresponded to that, Ira?
I think the biggest factor right now is just these guys in a physical game trying to find, you know, what the referees are going to allow. What is that point? What's that threshold?
So Barnes just with 4 points, 4 rebounds. He's been kept quiet. 14 double-figure games and 14 coming into this one. Tops in that area. Now he uses the baseline. Head fakes, looks underneath to Lewis and went off of him and out. And now NJCU to take over offensively. Sam Toney, if you're head coach Brown, you want better shots out of him. You're happy to have 11 points, but it could be more, Ira.
For Sam, the big thing is him being able to find, as we are hidden behind Coach Brown here, find some space to shoot. He is doubled and tripled so often.
And Green does a lot with space to shoot there. LeBron Green knocking it down. Came in second with 13 threes made a couple, and Battle right back. NJCU did not get back, and Jason Battle able to expose him on that.
And by the way, you just saw with Tony, when you do double, what happens. He's going to be able to, his passing ability, he is the LeBron of the NJAC. And obviously you can't compare Sam Toney to LeBron James. But in terms of that ability at this level, Sam's as close as it gets. And his ability to move the ball from a guy his size, same position, small forward, and finding his teammate in the corner. There's other guys on this team who can knock down shots. And when you are concentrating too much on Tony because of the player he is, other guys have that ability to beat you.
Battle now has 10 points. He's 5 away from his season high and career high against Rutgers Newark, which was 15. That was a best for him, and he gets the NJCU lead down to 18. You know, Ira, it's more than just what level you're on. The physicality that Tony plays, very similar to LeBron's. I mean, it's just such a tough matchup wherever you go. And a nice lay-in by Thomas Cancel. We're going to see more out of him this year. Should be exciting.
I think as he gets used to this level of basketball, the speed of the NJAC, and I think the speed can take some players a little bit by surprise when they first get to the league. They think Division III, oh, how fast it's going to be. Well, the NJAC, physicality, the speed, it comes at you. It is very, very quick. As he gets adjusted, I think we're going to start seeing more explosiveness out of him. Coach Brown, big fan of this young man and what he's going to be able to bring to this program for 3 more years to come after this.
Getting his first points of the evening. I'm loose now. We were like 2 twins together, and Battle finally putting it down.
Well, you know what happens here? Coach Brown standing up right in front of us, so we have to stand up. And I stood on your mic cable.
It's okay, not a big problem. 2 tall guys as well.
Good job by Tom Krichkowski, the assistant SID at Staten Island, who's doing our stats tonight. The most important thing is protect the computers.
Yes, indeed it is. As Tony with a deep 3. Sam came in leading this team with 36 made, and he knocks it down. That's 14 for him, had 11 in the first half.
Yeah, and last year against this team on the road, he scored 42 points.
Yeah, that is, of course, Tony's career high.
It's also the most ever scored by an NJC player in a road game.
I like those little notes you have, Ira. If it fits on my board, it's going as Green too strong on the 3. Now Ramapo needs to start pushing, and Battle's feeling it and continues to. Jason Battle, I'm impressed, and NJCU has to get back.
Now, he's a good player, and he's probably going to be Ramapo's best player in the next couple of years. Wow, LeBron Green could jump very high.
Pulls up and gets the friendly roll. So Green takes that one away from Ramapo. Their Battle able to knock down. He'll set up. Lewis, McWilliams, Latka, and Barnes in the 5. Rob Lewis drives and draws contact going up. Brutus tried to go for the strip. Instead, picks up another foul here for NJCU.
Yeah, going back to that errant pass at midcourt, you know, Green's only 6'2". He's had knee problems. You know, he's twice broken his kneecap, which has been one of his big hindrances in his career. A former Ramapo player transferring over from Ramapo to NJCU at 6'2" to be able to sky there to prevent that turnover. Just his athleticism, I think, takes some people by surprise.
As Lewis good on the first of 2. Rob, 10 double-digit rebound games. 3 straight double-figure games. Had 5 points in that first half. 3 straight double-digit rebound games. It was Rob, the NJAC leader in rebounds. Over 150. And as you said, if number 12 is not on the court, this is a very different Ramapo team.
Yeah, I believe that if Rob Lewis is not producing, Ramapo is not going to have a chance to repeat this year. And it still may not. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not the most talented team in the league this year by a long shot.
And Green knocks down.
But I think you could make the case not only are NJCU and Montclair better on paper than Ramapo is this year, I think you could say the same thing, quite frankly, about TCNJ. And if William Patterson is overachieving like they have been, you know, William Patterson, they proved it against us earlier in the year, can beat anybody in this league.
Yeah, you know, they definitely gave Jim Calhoun some sweating. St. Joe's, Connecticut, knocking down 10-plus threes in that game. St. Joe's had the rally at the end. You know, sometimes Ira, too, you look at it. William Patterson, I think the game plan with them is you really got to get off to a good defensive start, because if they get hot shooting, they don't stop, and then you find yourself in a hole, and that's what happened and why this Gothic Knights team has 1 of 2 losses to them in the NJAC.
The Pioneers, again, that's my alma mater, too, so usually I pay closer attention. You know, I thought coming in this year they were a team that was going to be fighting for that final spot in the conference tournament, but they very well could be a 3rd seed. Tell you what, though, the most dangerous team in the league, most likely to cause an upset, to take people by surprise, is Rowan. Because the senior twins, or the Persia twins, I think are fantastic. I think they are the best combo guards at that position that we've seen in a South Jersey team in a long time. You know, typically, with the guard positions, you're seeing the NJCUs, Ramapos of the world. But for Rowan, that's been in their bread and butter, and those 2 young men have done a great job of leading that prop program.
Yeah, you know, again, they're getting some good bench scoring as well for Rowan, and they don't stop playing. Let me tell you, there's no deficit that scares them. NJCU was up by 10-plus, a huge double-digit lead, and Rowan came inches away from, I don't know, maybe potentially forcing OT. So NJCU up here by 16. They have all 5 of the fouls, none for Ramapo. And Julius gets the first Ramapo foul drawn. 11 points. He made 3 threes to get that done. And, hey, listen, you call him a streaky player, but when he's streaking in the good direction, listen, that's exactly what Coach Brown would like to have.
Hey, I'm a streaky player myself.
I'm lucky if I could hit the rim. CYO when I was practicing my Jays.
So I play in a pickup league on Tuesday nights in Mattawan. And it's, you know, you play either 7 or 11, and you know, winners stay on, losers have to wait till the next game. It's open, so age 18 to, and some guys in their 50s are playing.
And Pierre knocks down on the J, so 60 points.
I came out last night, and we won the first game 7-2. I hit 6 of the 7 points. And everybody's like congratulating me and everything, and I'm like, just wait a second, I'm pretty streaky. I didn't score again for an hour.
That's why I decided to take the Rodman approach. I was a good rebounder, able to box out. And Green will step off. Richardson, Vereen, Julius, Pierre, and Tony in the 5 for NJCU. McWilliams, Rob Lewis, Rob McWilliams, Battle, and Barnes. Barnes slow getting going this evening. Battle leading all scorers. Tony for three. Bang, baby! It's a 21-point lead.
And Sam Tony makes it look so easy. And he gets that comfort zone where he could just not miss. And he has that step back three undefendable with his leaping ability and his size.
So he now has 1,167 career points. And coming to this one, 21st in school history. It matched Omar Cooper. And he'll keep climbing that list. Ira getting closer now to another 20-point game. Came with 6 20-point games in his last 7. So as you said, he started to catch his footing.
When he's feeling it, he is the best player probably at his position in the entire country.
Well, you see a better comfort level with him here as we go down into the season. Vereen on 3. That one rims out. Battle for the board. And Rob Lewis, like usual, gets it. Big defensive board. Ramapo, how do you get it going offensively here?
Well, at this point, you got to get some stops of NJCU. If you want to get it going offensively, you got to get some defensive stops, cause some turnovers. Otherwise, this game is going to be it's already a blowout. It's 21 points right now. Problem being there's 14 minutes left, so still anything could happen. Ton of basketball to be played.
So Rob Lewis back at the line. Of course, Rob Lewis from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Gets it done also defensively. Led this team coming in with 12 blocks, 6th in the NJAC in that category. He had 3 blocks last game against TCNJ, but because of those 3 fouls, defensively, Ira, in that first half, he couldn't make the impact and stop this NJCU offense. That's hot. 2nd in the NJAC, 81 points per game they average.
Yeah, and at this point, the Gothic Knights have a chance to put up 90 points tonight. And they haven't really shown, even with Tony coming out of the game now, we'll see what the second team can do, but haven't shown any signs of cooling down. And you have the entire second team on the floor right now.
94th meeting between both of these squads. NJCU leading this series 67-26. Ira Thor, Paul Tanaselli, our producer and director. I'm John Kelly Jr. as NJCU trying to keep their momentum, coming in defeating 3 straight NJAC opponents. Ramapo's lost 2 straight, 2 of their last 3 to NJAC opponents. And now, Ira, this is where we get into the meat of the schedules. Ramapo 4-3, NJCU trying to go to 6-2. And wins matter at this point when you have so many teams with the same conference record, as Richardson almost took it all the way. And knocked away by, check that, Julius. Stuff going up by Barnes. Will get credited with the block. Banks out to Richardson on the drive. Lay-in is good. Oh, my.
Just hanging in the air. The transfer from D2 Lincoln, what a great addition, even just for 1 year. Coming home to his native Jersey City. Started the year as the starting point guard, actually over Shaquan Worthy, but his best role is in that 2 spot.
McWilliams put it under the bucket. Didn't get any rim. Pierre out to Richardson. Underneath the Banks, and he lays it home. And JCU lead to 24.
In transition, the Gothic Knights are just undefendable. The quickest, most athletic team in the league, and now you're starting to see an unlikely margin between 2 of the biggest rivals in this conference, maybe in any sport. You're starting to see the 30-point plateau in very potential coming up here in the next few minutes as Ramapo is completely out of this game. And, you know, as good of a team as Ramapo is, you never expect them to be blown out by anybody.
Yeah, when you talk about Rowan, too, another team that really can match the transition game. I saw that when I was here calling that one as McWilliams makes the first of 2.
Also a different NJCU team at that time.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of guys new that were still getting to learn to play together. Banks knew. Richardson knew. You know.
That's why you always have to look, and you've been doing D3 for the longest time. I mean, you're a legend in the field, but I always agree
you call me old?
that, oh no, young, doing more leagues than I can, obviously. At JCU, trying to get into the 70s here with a 3. I was talking about it, Ira. Again, the first 10 games, everyone's trying to feel each other out. It's those later games, including when you get to the new year, where teams start to catch fire or fall off. And really, at the same time here, it looks like NJCU There's a plethora of talent on that bench that they run into foul trouble. Someone can really step up and make a play, and that's what you love as a coach.
You can go 13 deep on this team, and you're not losing a ton. Obviously, you want Sam Toney on the floor just because, I mean, he's one of the top 5 players in the country. But even with him off, you have other guys that are capable of beating you, and, I mean, just the athleticism of a Banks, of a Richardson, of James Julius, who has shown some flashes of brilliance already in this game and looks like he's got his game together here in the second half of the year. A lot of guys in this floor that can beat you in many different ways. And in a very close game in South Jersey, Montclair State is only leading 2-5 in the league. Rutgers Camden 2-12 overall by 5 points, 10 minutes to go.
And, of course, that'll be the next matchup for this NJCU squad. Then they'll be home against Kane. And then on the road against Rowan. Tough test. But it's all you got to do, Ira, when you're stacked up with the same conference record. Just win, baby, as Al Davis says. And some magic can happen. And, also, again,
just
same point, you don't want
to move to Vegas. That's what Al Davis says.
Well, the other thing, too, you look at it, I mean, again, you don't want to get into those tiebreaker rules. That's really why I always say just win when the conference record's the same, because there's so many factors that could happen. You get a team that's hot that, they lose a game here or there or fall short. It could end the season, Ira, when really you'd like to see that team keep playing.
The other big game going on right now is William Patterson hosting the College of New Jersey. And as you mentioned early on, a 4-way tie between NJCU, Montclair, TCNJ, and Patterson. Ramapo and Camden, the last 2 teams NJCU has not played in this first go-around. You'll start seeing some of this tie-ups, as there is a tie-up, start being broken in the coming weeks. And wow, well, that'll solve some problems. TCNJ is blowing out William Patterson in Wayne, 68-46, 5 minutes left in that contest.
Well, that should help NJCU because they already took care of TCNJ, and they'll have them home here Wednesday, February 6th, and Senior Day against Rutgers Camden. And they will conclude the season on the 16th on the road against this Ramapo squad. So a lot both teams can learn. I think Ramapo knows off the bat, you got to find a way to keep Rob Lewis from being out of the game, get him more involved defensively and offensively. Richardson for 3, short, Barnes the board.
Good vision, though, by Vereen to be able to get that cross-court pass on the money.
And he lays it down. A tough day scoring for Kashawn Barnes. We expected that. And now Vereen to Julius. 3 threes made in that first half, threw it away to Battle. And a chief foul by Yuri Brutus. So Ramapo will continue to shoot free throws, and more or less, this is really kind of what happened in the second half of the Rowan game. Rowan continued, you get opportunities at the free throw line, then they hit a couple of runs, and all of a sudden, what's a very comfortable 20-plus point lead, then you're in a dogfight there. You're a 2-3 possession game. So keep playing, obviously, Ira, they have to.
11 minutes left, still a lot of basketball. Anything could happen. You've seen some dramatic comebacks before. What kind of killer instinct does NJCU have? I mean, heck, 11 minutes left. NJCU could easily get this game close to the 100 mark for the 3rd time this year as Sam Toney's back in.
So Julius will step off. Vereen, Brutus, Richardson. Enzel Banks in the 5. Lewis Battle. Ryan Quill and Travis Bennett. Garfield, New Jersey in the 5 for Ramapo. 21-point lead, but NJCU is over the foul limit. Green, Richardson from the elbow. That one air ball. Looked like he got contacted, Ira. Referee didn't see it.
Yeah, and they asked for some help there, and you saw on the baseline a little bit of help there as that tip, just like the Eagles and the Bears, tipped at the line.
Oh, man. I think Steve Bartman has a new friend now for getting out of Dodge, Cody Parkey.
Yeah, I feel bad for Parkey, too, because the ball was blocked, and as some of you know, I'm the official scorer for the New York Jets, so
you are.
I'm on a chat with all these scorers from around the nation, and everybody saw the same thing, that it was a block. It was eventually changed.
Oh, that's a highlight reel follow from Denzel Banks. 71 points for NJCU. Battle.
The look in your face as Banks was falling away. You were in disbelief.
So much athleticism on this squad. Lewis. Stuff going up by Tony.
Oh, my. I think Paul's going to have that one queued up. That's insane. Sam Tony skying there, just the vertical ability and avoiding the foul to swat that away.
Tony's 11th block on the season. Yuri Brutus and him, they're really locked down in the paint.
Take a look at that block. Oh, this Sam Tony is elevating right there and knock it away.
It's all about timing too, Ira, as you see it in that graphic. Battle. Gets it from Barnes. Driving on Thomas Kensel. Parks, waits. Out to Kashawn Barnes. Deep three. Off the back iron. Nice box out by Wusu, and it's going to go over to NJCU.
And Barnes is a special scoring ability, but, man, he is a high-volume shooter.
Despite it, 13 points this evening, 6 for 12 from the field. So he has 15 double-figure games and 15 as Banks short. Thomas Cancel cleans it up, and Rob Lewis was looking for some help underneath.
All right, didn't get the help, and you had the point guard for the Knights come over to clean it up. And Gothic Knights following their shot. You follow your shot, and good things happen.
Yeah, Denzel Banks showed that before. Barnes is 13. Nothing home. Goes down here for Lewis. One-on-one with Thomas Cancel. And Thomas Cancel going to draw the foul. So free throws coming for Ramapo. And Rob Lewis. Rob Lewis from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Team captain. And, you know, Ira, another thing, came in NJAC leader in minutes per game, 36.5. So there definitely is wear and tear on this guy as the season goes on. But, you know, you want him on the floor as much as possible. And when he is, this team has a lot of impact. He goes 1 for 1 here on the 1-and-1. Do you worry about that, though, the big man, if you're a head coach? You're playing in the 36-minute area. I mean, that's like 85, 90% of the game.
It comes down to fitness. If your body is conditioned to be able to do it and your team needs you to be on the floor to have a chance to win, you know, it's, again, these guys are 22, 23 years old at the most. You know, occasionally you get a guy who's a little older like a Sam Tony. But if you're conditioned and you're used to doing it, there's no reason you can't. What I'm concerned about more for Ramapo's point is that if I'm a Ramapo fan, you got 21 guys on the bench, and the fact that you're really not getting contributions from many of them. That's not a good recipe for success.
No, bench scoring important. Said NJCU can roll out a ton of bodies and make it happen. Kashawn Alexander's in as Wusu follows that. Tony, Thomas Cancel, Banks in the 5 for NJCU. Jason Battle now watched by Thomas Cancel. Freshman on freshman. Battle driving, floater off the back iron, and a big board by Sam Tony. Trying to go to Alexander, knocked out a play by Barnes. It will stay with NJCU. As Ahmad St. Fleur coming in at St. Mary's. Good athletic programs. As Banks will inbound. Rob Lewis, Barnes, Ryan Quill. And Bennett in the 5. Alexander driving. Too strong on that righty float, and another board by Rob Lewis. All NJCU in this one, up 75-49. Barnes driving and laying home. Nice assist from Ahmad St. Fleur. And Thomas Cancel, it's called for a carry, so it goes right back to Ramapo, down by 24. 26, the largest lead for NJCU. Led by 17 after 1. Outscoring Ramapo 29-20 in this second half. And Bennett able to lay it down. Quick push by NJCU. Banks had that one knocked away. And it will stay with the Gothic Knights. James Julius is going to come in. So Alexander will come off. Wosu, Banks. And Tony will come off, so Alexander stays on. Denzel Banks. Alexander's your fifth. Julius, Wosu, Thomas Cancel, and Banks. As Alexander fouled on the drive, and he will go to the free throw line with 8:04 to go. Paul Tanaselli, your producer and director, on play-by-play man John Kelly Jr. As Kashawn Alexander to the charity stripe. Sean from Orange, New Jersey, too strong on that first of 2 free throws. As Nasir Walker will come in to replace Deshaun Barnes. As Brian Quill, Travis Bennett, St. Fleur, and Rob Lewis all in the 5 for Ramapo as Alexander knocks down and the lead 23. And Ira, now for some of these bench guys in Ramapo, it's a big time to step up.
This is a chance to try to earn some playing time is what this is. You've got 8 minutes left. You're down by 20-something points. Gothic Knights are going to keep running. They're not going to take their foot off the gas because they've learned the hard way what happens when you do.
Denzel Banks will reset things. Wosu gives him the pick. Banks with space, pulls up. Short on the 2. And another rebound by Quill. And outlets. And a traveling violation on Ahmad St. Fleur. Great job by Denzel Banks. There's not anywhere on the floor he isn't. I mean, he's all over the place.
And great job by him avoiding the contact there, which is what Ramapo was looking for.
So he has his 8th career double-figure game and his 15th career game. At 18 off the bench, he has 10 in this one. 4 rebounds, shooting 40%, number 2. And here's Thomas Cancel. He has 4 points. You'll see a lot more of him coming off the bench. Just very impressed with what we've seen from him. Banks. Driving, kicks out Thomas Cancel to Julius for 3. That one off the back iron, and long rebound grab by Travis Bennett. That went down, Ira. That's tic-tac-toe passing. St. Fleur fires it out to Nasir Walker. Is Chad Stewart going to get an opportunity? Stolen by Alexander. Draws contact on Lewis. Shot is too strong, and Banks. I wonder who they're going to score that to.
I guess you give it to Banks there. I mean, if it wasn't him, he's certainly going to take credit for it.
12 points for Banks. 30 points in his last 2 games. As Bennett off the mark, and then a nice follow by Brian Quill, and the junior from Pottstown, PA, with a 3-point play opportunity. As Chad Stewart will get a chance to step in. Played for Coach Marinello's team not too far up the road here at Hudson Catholic. They've produced several good players. You know, I went to school at St. Peter's Prep. I want to always make it about you on the broadcast. But Hudson Catholic, a program that has really turned out some serious Division I players. Reggie Cameron went to Georgetown, and Nick Marinello's players, you know, Ira, one thing I know about them, they're going to play good defense, but they can run. They can fit what head coach Brown likes to do, and interested to see what Stewart can provide here.
Yeah, a chance for some of the younger guys who don't see a ton of time to at least get some experience against a quality opponent. And Paul Tanaselli is telling us that the ball was tipped into the basket by Ramapo. Is that confirmed?
That's what it looked like for me, actually, that it had been their own bucket.
I'm going to go let the official scores know so they can make that ruling officially. So I'll be right back.
No problem. Stewart down low for Wusu, lost control, then got it back. Spin, stuffed going up. Alexander out to Stewart. He's rejected. 2 blocks on this exchange. Julius for 3. There's number 4 that he knocks down today. James Julius with 4 threes made. Lewis on the drive. Kicks out. Bennett. Good. So Travis Bennett, James Julius with 14 points. The Linden product. Thomas Cancel. Across the timeline, 5:40 to go. NJCU has hit their average at 81 points per game, which is second in the conference. Wusu out to Alexander for 3. Good! Make that 84 for NJCU.
And you see the bench get up on that one. Alexander does not get a ton of time, and for him to knock down a 3 like that, his teammates happy for him.
Foul on Alexander. He knocked down that 3. NJCU, 81.4 points per game. 9.4 scoring margin. It's second in the conference. And, you know, did you see that game against Thiel where they had a season-high 106? It's been the first time in a while they hit the 100.
I was out in Vegas, so I was watching bits and pieces of the game, but everybody in that contest contributed. Obviously, Thiel not – it's actually teal, pronounced like the color, but –
or the Rutgers quarterback that put up some numbers there, Mike Teal.
Is that a Don Bosco Prepka comparison there?
No, not at all. Just trying to stick with what Teal sounds like.
Is that the Florida Marlins? The Teal's not Ramapo. Teal is not Montclair State.
No, it isn't.
Still an impressive performance that day. But you know what? They didn't win the tournament. And they came back with a sour taste in their mouth after dropping the game against Worcester in front of a huge crowd that they had won.
So Zuriel Percios coming in here from North Bergen, so he'll get some playing time.
Interesting case for him. And Percios, as the ball is batted around. Every year Coach Brown does tryouts. He doesn't need to do tryouts. He's coaching a team that was ranked 16th in the country coming in. But he does tryouts, but you never know. He wants to give the guys a fair crack. Percios comes out, true walk-on, earns his spot. Yeah, he's not going to get a ton of time, but he has been seeing some quality time in some of these games that the Gothicvision have well in hand. And, you know, he's somebody who can contribute. You want the guys at the end of the bench, guys who can contribute, whether it's practice or if you need to give some of your guys in front of you some minutes, a breather, he's able to do that.
Yeah, also Ira and the scouting too, the scout team, a chance to really come off and really help this team defensively if they see a quick guard. Again, Percios from North Bergen High School. And we tell you, good athletes at that school as well, good athletic programs. Basketball not really a known commodity there. Football was for a while, but these kids play hard, Ira. You know, again, he's going to also bring that command and that hard work ethic that can help this team.
Yeah. You want to see somebody like
Stewart
Percios be successful. Those are the kind of guys that you root for, and hard work and just what can happen when you just go out there and fight for your time.
Reverse, too strong from Will. Stewart, Tercios, reverse. Oh, couldn't go. This place was ready to explode if he knocked that one down. Andre Ward. Bennett gets it underneath and cannot connect, so he will get to go to the line for 2 free throws with 3:11 to go. So Ira obviously after this one, Rutgers Camden, and then Kane back here on the 16th at home, 8 p.m. Be another doubleheader, and really, if you look at it, William Patterson a chance to avenge a tough early season loss. Then Montclair State a big one later in the year.
Couple things. First of all, men's side first. NJCU with a win here today is going to have a chance to potentially go on a little bit of a run through the league. You know, win over Ramapo, Camden and Kane. You know, on paper, you would expect NJCU to win those games. Camden and Kane both being at the bottom of the league standings. NJCU in first place. And so NJCU, before we get through the middle of next week, could very well be 13-4, and the team that we kind of expected when the year began. Interesting enough, I do have to say something about next week's Kane game because it could actually be very special on the women's side. 2 Bacon sisters, familiar faces, obviously. Well, that's a big story. It's not just the Bacon sisters and playing their old team. So Marija Bacon now. She entered the game with 119 points shy of 2,000 for her career, so she's averaging 25 a game. So on paper, well, it got 119 points. It would take you 5 games to cover that 119 points. The 119th point would happen in the middle of the 5th game. Today was game 1. She scored 25. She's at 19:08 right now. Tomorrow against Pratt's game 2. Saturday against Camden's game 3. Monday against Wesleyan's game 4. Oh, It's on the schedule next Wednesday.
Kane.
She has a very realistic shot
To be 2,000
of
points.
scoring 2,000 points against her former team.
It's amazing. She could accomplish that. And you had written in your notes, Ira, how many players have gotten 2,000 career points? I think if I had it right, would she be the 46th player to hit that, though?
She would be the 47th.
47th, right. 46 have done it, as I read your notes.
But within 2 weeks from now, she very well could be the all-time leading scorer in the history of the NJAC.
Yeah, tomorrow night for Coach Devaney, I think definitely back to the drawing board, just from a standpoint of what they do offensively against Pratt. You know, for them, they just got grinded down. You know, as he builds this program, he has such a passion for basketball, and he knows talent very well. He's been with Coach Brown. They'll get the size they need. That's just kind of what got them today, as a shot clock violation.
Coach Devaney's got a passion for a lot of things.
Yeah, we were hearing him in our earpiece, and you know, you can look at a lot of the calls there. I have to kind of agree with him. I saw some foul calls go to the wayside, but for the most part, I mean, Ramapo grinded one out. And it's just going to be the size thing, but when he starts bringing that in, you know, you can see at a program up in Kings Point, there's a young freshman forward, Lauren Hunter. She averages 20 a game. She comes out from Illinois. You know, you can get a young freshman in there, 5'11", they could start scoring, and all of a sudden, you know, you bring back that experience at guard. He has some good guard play and some future there, and Reese gets healthy. You got a team that can contend, at least definitely compete in the NJAC.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that they only have the Bacons for 1 year, but it's going to be that 1 year it's going to kind of turn the program around and help set the stage for the future.
Alexander. Julius. Air ball. He's looking for his 5th three made, so 1:37 to go. We'll go back over to Ramapo. They've emptied off the bench, so for the Roadrunners, be 3 of 4 they've lost in NJAC play, so they'll fall to 4-4. But still a lot of basketball to be played, and you know, again, the real question for them, you had said they got to get bench scoring. It really, you know, they're 3 double-digit gunners. Kashawn Barnes, their leading scorer at 21.1 points per game coming in. Lewis at 17.1, and McWilliams at 12 points per game. But if you can get consistency from Battle in that 4, we can get 9 points. You get a couple double-figure games like 10 or 11. You're going to be in good shape because one of those 3 guys is going to get in the foul trouble. 2 of them could get in the foul trouble. And if you have a bench that struggled here against probably the best team in the conference and one of the, you know, probably most athletic teams in the conference, it's going to be hard.
When you look at the Massey rankings, if you believe in those, they are a Division III ranking system that kind of projects what teams are going to do throughout the rest of the year. They have the Gothic Knights finishing 19-6, only losing 2 games the rest of the year.
Ooh, as Tercios rimmed that one out. Oh, I was rooting for him to knock that one down.
The only 2 losses, according to Massey, the Knights would have the rest of the year would be at Rowan and at Ramapo. So if those rankings are right, it still could be a very strong finish to the year. This team, they schedule tough. That strong SOS is going to help them when it comes time for the NCAA if they don't win the NJAC, as that pass, a bad pass by Stewart out of bounds there. This team obviously wants to win a conference title. The last conference championship, and you see the banner hanging from the primary scoreboard to the left of the bench, was 8 years ago. A team that probably should have won the title against Ramapo 2 years ago, if not for that half-court buzzer beater.
As Quill tried to go for 12 points. Was a nice block and put down by Rigav Seagull. Comes in from India, 35 seconds to go, so NJCU going to move to 11-4, 6-2 in the NJAC. And after everything's sorted out, be one of the top teams. And getting a big win here in the 94th meeting against Ramapo, be their 68th overall. And they'll continue with 4 straight NJAC victories.
This is going to look a little closer than it actually was. So, of course, Sal Pierre will help with that. As the Gothic Knights were up by 24 points at one point, probably a little bit more when I took my eye off the scoreboard.
8 seconds to go. 3 Ramapo players in double figures. Barnes with 13, Lewis with 11, and Battle with 14. And now 5 if you have Quill with 10, but those are late points. NJCU, Tony with 17, 14 from Julius. Of course, 4 threes made. Banks with 12 off the bench. Green with 10. So 4 players with double figures. 2-1, and NJCU makes it back-to-back. They're 11-4 overall, 6-2 in the NJAC. And they take care of Ramapo 86-71 in this 94th meeting, and now have 4 straight wins against NJAC opponents, 6-2. Your thoughts here as we close up?
Good, strong performance by the Knights. They fell behind early. They took control of the game. They went on a little run, and they put their foot down hard on the pedal and did not let go until they crossed the finish line. And very strong performance against a 2-time defending conference champions, again, a team that obviously doesn't have the strength, the weapons that they had a couple years ago, but still a formidable foe. And, you know, a couple minutes we'll talk to James Julius and a couple of the other players and talk about this win as you sign off the broadcast. But a good quality win for this squad, and NJCU. January's a long month. You got to pace yourself, but what a great way. 2 home wins, Stockton and now Ramapo.
Yeah, and they remain perfect at home at 6-0. So the interview coming up after this, as NJCU victorious here over Ramapo in NJAC play. They have now won 4 straight conference games as they take care of Ramapo in this one by a final of 86-71. Interview coming your way after this. (86-71) is our final as Ramapo gets knocked off by NJCU. 4 straight NJAC wins. And, you know, Ira, Gothic Knights playing right at the right time. And we get our final stats given to us here. And NJCU tonight, they shoot 38% from the field, shoot very well from the free throw line, 73%. And in the rebounding department, that's really the key here. Plus 11, 51 rebounds to 40. They really took Rob Lewis out of this game, got him in the foul trouble, and just cruised after that, Ira.
Yeah, and the fact that you look through the entire box score and basically everybody contributed. I mean, in the first half alone, you had 9 different players score. I mean, just the number of different guys in this box score that have the ability to beat you. And you look throughout the plus minus. This team is just dangerous. They are still, amazingly, still kind of finding their way. They are not the championship level team that I thought they were going to be, but they will get there. And you're seeing the flashes that this team, as they finally get all the little pieces put together, and they're very close, but when they get it all together, it's a very difficult team to beat as we get into the latter stages this season.
Yeah, Tony again leading the way with scoring. Of course, how about these other players here for NJCU? Denzel Banks, back-to-back double-figure games, came off the bench. Outstanding performance from him.
Yeah, as much as, you know, really interesting to see what Banks does. Julius today was the player of the game. 14 points, 9 boards, you know, nearly had a double-double in 20 minutes off the bench. And again, a streaky player.
Four threes knocked down.
He
Part of those points.
He was 3 of 6, so
he had knocked down 4 because he had 3 in the first half.
He started 3 of 6,
6,
so he was just one of his last 5. So he can be very streaky, but when he's on, man, he is somebody you want with the ball in his hands.
Definitely. Well, when it was in his hands, it went down. So EdgeACU wins 86-71, and the men now move on to the road. But 4 straight NJAC wins go to 6-2 and 11-4 overall. So I want to give a special thanks all the staff there at Ramapo for helping me get prepared for this game, and of course our SID Ira Thor for all the work he does here. So for Ira Thor, Paul Tanaselli, I'm John Kelly Jr. Stick with me tomorrow. Come see me tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pratt and women's basketball tee up here. That'll be on NJCU Gothic Night Vision. So the men take care of it. Have a good evening.